Good morning from the Hashknife. Well, it's a little embarrassing to say the least, but I think it happens in the best of families. And that is, one of our girls didn't come home when she was supposed to. So we gathered a couple of days ago, brought them home from summer pasture onto winter pasture, and then the next day, yesterday, we preg tested, and somehow we missed her in the count, and realized when we were doing our record keeping as we're coming through the chute that we were missing number 52. Yes, it's a little different though than most of the time when a young lass doesn't come home for maybe a couple of days at a time. Most of the time you hope, boy, she just comes home alone. We want her safe, but alone. This is one of these times where we want her to come home nice and safe and sound, but we want a bun in the oven on this one. So I got to go try to find her here somewhere, and hopefully she's on all fours, breathing nice fresh air, and maybe playing a game of hide and go seek. We'll find out. Stick with us. Well, I've covered a couple of miles through the pasture here and followed a lot along this nice little, really good spring that's in here, and still don't find her. I'm beginning to think she might have slipped through a fence somewhere and decided to visit the neighbors. So, yeah, we'll keep looking and exhaust this before we go bothering them. So, it's more bouncing out across this pasture and trying to keep my back from killing me and my everything else from killing me. So, I don't know if you can see just above this little knoll here, kind of a little swale on the other side, a couple of coyotes I just spotted took off, headed to the west, is almost as hard as they can go. So that's not necessarily a good sign, as one can put together pretty easily, but it doesn't mean it's a bad thing either, because we did lose that cow out here about a couple months ago, I believe in a lightning strike. So they could still be chewing on what's some pieces and parts of her that are left, and not necessarily on some fresh meat. So we're going to concentrate some effort here, and hopefully we don't find her. Hopefully it's just this older cow. Well, luckily this is not her. This is that older cow that was hit here, we think, by lightning a couple months ago. So that's not such a bad thing, but we're still missing a girl. So the search continues. Yeah, there goes another coyote way up there. I don't know if I can see him or not. And he is hauling out of here. But he's a ways away from where I saw the other ones. A lot of coyote in the country. So I don't think that's an issue. The other thing I'm looking for a lot are birds. A lot of times these crows and ravens, magpies, they'll find these carcasses, if there is one, and eat on it, and they'll give you a good indication that you found what you're looking for in the state that you don't want it in. But I haven't seen anything like that so far, so that's a good sign. Again, I'm thinking more and more that she's decided to go visit the neighbors. And I'm about exhausted on where to look in here, so we might have to just go take a visit with somebody. Yeah, I'm coming along the fence line between us and the neighbors. Several months ago, I had a bull in here, or thought they had one in here, and noticed the fence was kind of tore up, and this is the spot. So as you can see, there's some tracks here, but not a lot. Some old track, some not too old, but you can see some prints through there underneath and along each side. So she might be in here. And one thing for sure, we got to put a little time into putting this fence kind of back up, because there is some red hair right there, as you can see. And I don't know if that's our red hair or not, but good indication. Well, we found the cow, and there's a lot of relief on this ground. Like I said before, it's hard to see stuff, so I actually took to the air, found her, and was able to get a little closer to her. There's no ear tag left or anything like that that I can see, but I know this cow. She's got a long toe on this right hind that I've been concerned about. You can see that's consistent right there. So I'm going to grab a metal detector and run over the top of her. There's not much left. These coyotes work them over pretty fast. So she's probably a couple weeks. I've been laid up for a couple weeks. I haven't been able to do much in the way of riding, so it's been a little bit, but we'll see if we can't dig something out of her just in case it's something like that. Hopefully not. You know, I'm going to calibrate this thing. Throw a nickel out. There we go. So that, start out there with way far away. Sometimes, in my former life, something could get shot and that bullet would change trajectory. And I've seen stuff come in through the side and end up down into a lower leg, just travel underneath of the hide. That's why I'm kind of looking down these lower legs a little bit. And I'm really not picking anything up. So that makes me feel a little better. We should have found her sooner. Let's see if this picks us up again. Yeah. So I'm pretty confident that if there was a bullet or a bullet fragment in there, we'd probably see it coming up here. But it could also been consumed or drug off. As you can see, these coyotes, boy, they dig around in here really fast, hole up in this, and make short order of a carcass. So I'm fairly confident that nobody's been doing some misdeeds, so that makes me feel a little better. But you got to wonder when you got a piece of block management area for hunters. Last year we had that butcher steer butchered out here, and then this, it just kind of makes you wonder. So just take a little precaution and see what's what. But I think we're probably okay on this one. I'm pretty confident that we don't have somebody who's just shot one of our cows and left it for, you know, whatever reason. People do things like that. Last year we had a steer butchered. I mean, that was a no-brainer. We found the head and some lower legs and no hide, nothing but what was left of a little gut pile. But this makes me feel better that we're not getting someone tuned up to be an opportunist. Things can happen. It can die, and on their own. It's a young cow. She's only 5-6 years old, and so you kind of suspect that something's wrong here. But you got a piece of ground that's hunted pretty heavily because it's in a block management area that's managed by the Fish and Game, and a lot of people can come in. Anybody can hunt anytime they want during legal times. So things happen. Got to kind of rule it out and hopefully it's not. And I don't think we've got anything here. We certainly couldn't prove anything if there was. And a big thick hide like this, you'd normally find a bullet fragment or a bullet jacket, something like that in there that would come up pretty easily. But with no a lot of meat in there or anything that to go through, it doesn't leave much, and I don't think there is. Wish I'd have found her earlier, but yeah, we didn't. So anyway, thanks for coming along on this little short jaunt